My billionaire father-in-law humiliated me in front of 22 colleagues, but what happened next changed everything. The boardroom was too perfect. The floor shined like a mirror. The glass walls showed the city below, tall buildings glowing in the afternoon sun. The long table was made of dark wood, smooth and cold. Every chair was filled with people in expensive suits, sitting straight, quiet, careful. I stood at the end of the table. My hands were calm, but my chest felt tight. I had worked in this company for years. I had given it my nights, my weekends, my sleep. I believed this place was my future. At the head of the table sat my father-in-law, a billionaire, a legend, a man people feared and respected at the same time. He didn't look angry. That scared me more. He folded his hands and looked at me like I was a stranger. Like family meant nothing here. "This meeting is short," he said in a low, steady voice. "We are making changes." No one moved. No one breathed. Then he looked straight at me. "You're fired." The words hit me, but there was no sound. No shock in his voice. No reason given. Just a decision already made. I waited for him to explain. He didn't. I looked around the table. 22 faces. Men and women I had trained. People who came to me for advice. Some of them avoided my eyes. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. But no one spoke. I nodded slowly. "Understood," I said, even though nothing made sense. I picked up my coat. The room stayed silent as I walked toward the door. Each step felt heavy. When the door closed behind me, the quiet finally broke inside my head. 3 days later, I was driving. The city disappeared behind me. Tall buildings turned into empty roads. The noise faded. The air felt lighter, but my heart felt heavier. I didn't plan to come here. My hands just turned the wheel on their own. This town was small. Too small for big dreams. Dirt roads, old houses, open fields. A place I ran from 7 years ago. A place I promised myself I'd never return to. I parked near a farmhouse at the edge of town. The paint was faded. The fence leaned to one side. The wind carried the smell of soil and grass. And then I saw her. She was standing outside, holding a small box filled with tools. Her hair was tied back, messy from work. Her clothes were simple. No jewelry. No makeup. But it was her. 7 years felt like yesterday. She looked thinner. Older. Tired in a quiet way. But when she lifted her eyes and saw me, something cracked in her face. She froze. I said her name without meaning to. She swallowed hard. I thought you'd never come back." Her voice was soft. Careful. "I didn't think I would," I replied. We stood there, a few feet apart, like strangers who knew each other too well. The air between us was full of words we didn't say. The past stood with us. Memories rushed in, arguments, silence, a goodbye that wasn't really a goodbye. Her father's shadow always between us. His words. His control. "I heard about the company," she said quietly. I nodded. "Your father fired me." Her hands tightened around the box. She looked down for a moment, then back at me. "I'm sorry." The sun slowly moved lower, painting the sky orange. The town felt frozen, like it was holding its breath. I looked at her face, searching for answers I never got. She looked at me like she wanted to say something, but didn't. And in that moment, I knew. This place wasn't just part of my past. It was the beginning of something unfinished. We sat on the wooden steps of a farmhouse as the sun sank lower, painting the fields gold and orange. The wind blew softly through the trees, carrying the scent of fresh earth and distant hay. Everything around us felt quiet, almost sacred, but the air between us was heavy with years of unspoken words. "I shouldn't be here," she said, her voice small, almost a whisper. She pulled her knees close, hands wrapped around them, and stared at the ground. "I was fired," I said simply, my voice low. "Your father, he didn't even give a reason." Her lips pressed together, and for a moment, she didn't answer. I could feel her tension, the way she held herself like a shield. It was familiar. I had seen it before, the walls she built around herself. I know," she finally admitted. Her voice cracked slightly. "I heard. I'm sorry." I leaned back on my hands, looking out at the fading light across the fields. 7 years, I said. You disappeared without a word. You didn't even tell me why. She flinched, as if the words hurt her. I had no choice, she said quietly. Your father, he said he would ruin everything. Me, you, our future. I looked at her, searching her face, seeing the lines of worry that hadn't been there before. You were scared, I said softly. You left because of him. She nodded, eyes filling with something I hadn't seen in years, regret. Yes, she whispered. I left because I thought I was protecting you, protecting us. The wind stirred again, ruffling her hair. I noticed a small pair of shoes by the door of the house. Tiny, worn, dusty little shoes. My chest tightened. Who lives here with you? I asked cautiously, trying to keep my voice steady. Her hands gripped the edges of the box she had brought earlier. She looked away. No one important, she said quickly. I felt a chill run down my spine. Something was off. Something she was hiding. My heart pounded with a strange mixture of hope and fear. We sat in silence for a while. The sun dipped behind the hills, and shadows grew long across the fields. Memories of 7 years ago kept flickering in my mind. Her leaving without a word, the cold nights I spent waiting for her, the empty apartment that suddenly felt too big. I waited, I said finally, my voice shaking a little. I waited for you to come back. I thought maybe you'd call. Maybe you'd explain. But nothing. 7 years of nothing. She flinched, and I could see her hands trembling slightly. I wanted to, she admitted. Every day. But I couldn't. He made me choose. And I couldn't risk it. I thought if I left, maybe we'd survive in the future, maybe. Her voice broke, and I felt a sharp ache in my chest. I wanted to reach out, to hold her, to tell her it was okay, but I stayed still. Then, a small noise from the doorway caught my attention. A soft shuffle, a little giggle. I turned my head, and there he was, a small boy, shyly peeking out from behind the door. His eyes wide. Curious. My heart stopped. She looked at me, guilt and fear flickering across her face. I didn't know how to tell you, she said, her voice barely audible. I swallowed hard, staring at the boy. Something in me shifted. The emptiness of the past years, the betrayal, the hurt, all of it mixed with a strange new emotion, something I hadn't expected, hope. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out, and my stomach twisted. A message from my old office group chat. We just walked out. All 22 of us. I stared at it, stunned. My colleagues, my friends, my team, everyone I had trusted, had stood up for me. I looked back at her. She watched me with wide, anxious eyes. The wind whispered through the trees. The light faded completely, leaving us in the warm shadow of the farmhouse. I realized something then. The story wasn't over. Not for her, not for me. Something bigger was coming. And somehow, I knew the truth was about to change everything. The air was heavy, but for the first time in years, it wasn't crushing. It was full of anticipation. Full of secrets waiting to be revealed. The farmhouse was quiet except for the soft hum of evening crickets. The boy shifted from one foot to the other, glancing at me with wide, curious eyes. My heart felt like it was twisting in ways I hadn't known it could. Every beat screamed with the memory of lost years and the sudden, impossible presence of this small life that was mine. She stepped forward, her hands trembling slightly. I should have told you sooner, she said, her voice low and full of regret. 7 years ago. I was pregnant. The world seemed to stop. My mouth went dry. My mind struggled to keep up with the words she had just said. A child. 7 years ago. All this time. Her eyes filled with tears. Your father found out first. He threatened me. He said he would ruin your career, destroy everything we built, if I didn't leave. He said you weren't ready for this, that our child would suffer because of us. I stared at her, my chest tight. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal I had carried for so long all collided with a strange, new feeling. Relief that she hadn't left me because she stopped loving me, and of that she had made a sacrifice I could barely imagine. I looked down at the boy. He was small, shy, but there was something in his eyes, something so familiar, that it stopped me cold. He had my nose. My hands. my eyes wide and curious. He looked at me as if trying to recognize a face he had only just met, yet somehow knew. "Mom?" he asked softly, stepping closer to her. I felt a lump in my throat. I had imagined this moment in countless dreams, never expecting it to be real. I knelt slowly, trying to meet his gaze without startling him. "Hey there," I said quietly, my voice catching. I'm your dad." His eyes widened. His lips trembled, and then he ran forward, wrapping his small arms around me. My own arms froze for a moment, then I held him tight, feeling every lost year in that one embrace. She watched us, tears running down her cheeks, a mixture of fear, relief, and love. "I was trying to protect you," she whispered. "I never stopped loving you, and I never stopped hoping you'd come back." I closed my eyes, letting the emotions wash over me. The pain of the past 7 years, the betrayal, the firing, the humiliation, was still there, sharp and real. But standing here, with them both, I realized something. The best revenge wouldn't come from anger or confrontation. It would come from reclaiming the life they tried to control. My phone buzzed again. A message from the office chat. "Top team walks out after unfair firing." Headlines everywhere. I opened the news link, and the story hit me in waves. My father-in-law was sitting alone in his luxury office. The stock had dropped. The company trembled without the team he had tried to control. The power he had wielded over me, over my life, was slipping away, not through force, but through loyalty, respect, and truth. I felt a strange, calm satisfaction. No shouting. No revenge plots. Just the truth, finally coming full circle. I looked at my son, at the small hand gripping mine, and at the woman who had never stopped loving me. My father-in-law could never touch this life, could never touch this happiness, could never rewrite the past 7 years. I took a deep breath, letting the evening air fill my lungs. The sun had disappeared completely, leaving only the soft glow of stars above. The fields stretched endlessly around us, quiet and still. "Welcome home," I whispered to my son, my voice steady now, full of certainty. She smiled through her tears, and I reached out to hold her hand. For the first time in years, everything felt right. And deep down, I knew the truth. The ultimate revenge wasn't money, power, or recognition. It was love. It was family. It was life itself, untouchable, untamable, and mine. The boy looked up at me again, bright eyes shining, and whispered, "Daddy." I hugged him tighter. "Yes," I said. "Daddy's here." And for the first time in 7 long years, I felt like I had truly come home.